The world is turning blue. It is that specific, deep, and heavy blue that only exists in the far north when the sun decides to leave early. You know the color I mean. It is not the bright blue of a summer ocean, nor the pale blue of a morning sky. It is the color of cold itself. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but here, in the rugged landscapes of Scandinavia, the day is already whispering its goodbyes. The sun, which never really climbed very high to begin with, is now dipping below the jagged line of the horizon, leaving behind a sky that looks like bruised velvet. Before we walk any further into this snowy silence, I want to invite you to find a comfortable position. Just settle in. You do not need to close your eyes yet, unless you want to. Just let your shoulders drop. You know that tension we carry around all day, holding our shoulders up near our ears? Let it go. Let your jaw unclench. And if you find a sense of peace here in this story, if this quiet voice helps you drift away from the noise of the modern world, please gently leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me to know that we can meet again in these historical dreams, sharing the warmth of the past. Now, let us return to the snow. Imagine you are standing on a ridge, overlooking a valley. The air is so crisp it feels like it might snap. Honestly, I have always found that there is a unique quality to winter air. It is cleaner, sharper. When you breathe it in, you can feel it traveling all the way down into your lungs, waking you up and then calming you down all at once. It smells of ice, not just frozen water, but the smell of things that have been sleeping for a long time. It smells of pine needles frozen in suspended animation and the faint, salty tang of the sea fjord miles away. The wind is blowing. It is the north wind, the Boreas. It is not an angry wind tonight, but it is persistent. It pushes against your heavy wool cloak, searching for a way in, searching for a patch of warm skin. But you are bundled up. You are wearing thick layers of wool, scratchy and warm, smelling of sheep and lanolin. You pull your fur-lined hood closer around your face. The fur tickles your cheeks, a soft contrast to the biting air. Look out at the landscape. It is a world of white and gray and blue. The snow covers everything. It rounds the edges of the sharp rocks. It softens the outline of the distant trees. It creates a silence that is so profound, it almost has a sound of its own. Have you ever noticed how snow swallows sound? It acts like a giant acoustic damper. A bird cries out in the distance, a raven, perhaps. Its black wings stark against the white sky, and the sound is absorbed almost instantly. Asterisk, caw, silence, asterisk. There is no echo here, just the vast, indifferent quiet of the winter. You begin to walk. The snow is deep, packed hard by the wind. Your boots are made of leather, treated with beeswax to keep the wet out. They make a distinctive sound as you walk. Asterisk, crunch, creak, crunch, creak, asterisk. It is a rhythmic sound, a slow percussion that marks your progress across the ridge. It feels satisfying to break the crust of the snow, to leave a footprint where no one has stepped for days. You are not alone, though. Ahead of you, moving slowly through the twilight, is a small herd, sheep and goats. They are hardy creatures, bred for this weather, their coats thick and shaggy. But even they know that it is time to go inside. They move with their heads down, huddled together against the wind. You can hear their breathing, little puffs of steam rising from their nostrils and vanishing into the gray air. Occasionally, a sheep bleats, a low complaining sound that says, "It is cold, and I want my hay." You follow them. You are the shepherd tonight. You are the guardian of the retreat. There is something deeply primal about this task, guiding the animals home as the light fails. It connects you to thousands of years of human history. I often think about how many people have stood exactly where we are standing, feeling this same cold, watching this same sunset, driven by the same instinct to find shelter. It is a shared memory, written in our DNA. The light is changing rapidly now. The purple on the horizon is fading into a deep charcoal gray. The stars are beginning to appear. They are not like the stars we see in the city. They are fierce. They are brilliant, icy diamonds scattered across the black dome of the heavens. They look close enough to touch, yet impossibly far away. They do not twinkle. They stare. Under this vast sky, you feel small, but not insignificant. You feel like a part of the landscape, a small point of warmth moving through the cold. Ahead, down in the valley, you see it, the destination. It is a shape rising out of the snow, long and low. It looks like a sleeping beast, or perhaps an overturned boat. It is the Longhouse. The roof is covered in a thick layer of snow, blending it into the hillside. But there is a sign of life, a tiny, glowing orange eye. It is the smoke hole in the roof, or perhaps a small gap in the shuttered window, a flicker of firelight escaping into the night. That light changes everything. Just seeing it makes you feel warmer. It promises safety. It promises that the cold will not win tonight. You pick up your pace slightly, and the animals do too. They smell the barn. They smell the other animals. They know that food and rest are waiting. The descent into the valley is easier. The wind is less fierce here, blocked by the surrounding hills. You walk past a stand of birch trees, their white bark peeling like paper, looking ghostly in the dim light. Their branches are bare, intricate lace patterns against the sky. They are sleeping too, waiting for the spring that is months away. I have always admired the patience of trees in winter. They do not fight the cold. They just endure it. They stand still and wait. There is a lesson in that, I think. To just stand still, to conserve your energy, to rest. You reach the perimeter of the farmstead. There are fences made of woven branches, half buried in drifts. You open a gate. The wood is frozen, rough against your mittens. It swings open with a complaint of frozen hinges. Asterisk, creak, asterisk. The sheep file through, their hooves clattering on the stone path that has been cleared of snow. You count them as they pass. 1, 2, 3. White shapes moving into the shadows. They are safe. Now it is your turn. You walk towards the house. The walls are thick, made of turf and stone. They look solid, immovable. They have stood here for generations, weathering blizzards and storms. You can see the frost glittering on the grass roots that stick out of the turf walls. The house looks like it has grown out of the earth itself. It is not a building placed on the land. It is part of the land. You reach the door. It is made of heavy oak planks, darkened by age and weather. It is low. You will have to duck to enter. This is intentional, of course. A small door lets in less cold air. It is a humble entrance. You cannot walk in standing tall and proud like a conquering hero. You must bow your head. You must humble yourself before the sanctuary of the home. You place your hand on the door. You can feel the vibration of life on the other side. You can hear a muffled sound, voices, the clinking of a pot, a laugh. It sounds far away, muffled by the thick wood, but it is there. The world of light and warmth is just inches away. Take a moment here. Stand on the threshold. Feel the cold air on your back one last time. Feel the wind touching your neck. Acknowledge the winter. Respect it. It is powerful and beautiful and dangerous. But tonight, you are leaving it behind. You are retreating. You lift the latch. It is heavy iron, cold enough to burn. Asterisk, clack. Asterisk, the sound is sharp in the silence. You push the door open, and then the transition happens. It is not just stepping into a room. It is stepping into a different universe. You step over the high threshold, designed to keep the drafts out, and you duck your head. Asterisk. Whoosh. Asterisk. The wind stops. Instantly. The howling, the whistling, the biting cold it is, all cut off, as the heavy door swings shut behind you with a solid times thud asterisk. You are inside. Stand there for a moment in the semi-darkness of the entryway. Let your eyes adjust. Let your other senses take over. The first thing you notice is the silence of the wind. It is no longer a physical force pushing you around. It is just a distant memory, a faint singing outside the walls. You are protected. You are held. Then the smell hits you. It is a complex, rich, and deeply comforting smell. It is the smell of survival. It smells of wood smoke, pine, and birch burning in the central hearth. It smells of dried herbs hanging from the rafters. It smells of wool and leather, and underneath it all, the earthy, musky scent of the animals at the far end of the hall. To a modern nose, it might seem strong, but to you, standing there in the Viking age, it smells like life. It smells like home. You begin to unfasten your cloak. Your fingers are stiff from the cold, fumbling slightly with the brooch at your shoulder. The metal pin slides out. The heavy wool slides off your shoulders. You hang it on a peg by the door. You can feel the weight lifting off you. Not just the weight of the cloak, but the weight of the vigilance. You do not need to watch the horizon anymore. You do not need to brace yourself against the wind. You can soften. You rub your hands together. The friction creates a little spark of warmth. You breathe into your cupped hands. Asterisk. Asterisk. Your breath does not form a cloud here. The air is warmer. It is not hot. It is not a tropical heat, but compared to the freezing twilight outside, it feels like an embrace. You look down the length of the hall. It is a long, narrow space, shaped like a tunnel of warmth. Down the center, the fire is burning. Not a roaring, out-of-control blaze, but a steady, managed fire. The heart of the house. The flames lick at the blackened stones of the hearth, casting a soft, golden glow that dances on the walls. The shadows flicker and jump, but they are friendly shadows. You see figures moving in the firelight. Your family, your people, they are moving slowly, with the lethargy of winter evening. Someone is stirring a pot. Someone is mending a net. Someone is just sitting, staring into the flames. They look up as you enter. They nod, a quiet greeting. You have returned. The circle is complete. You walk towards the fire. The floor is packed earth, hard and smooth, covered in fresh rushes and straw. It softens your footsteps. Asterisk. Shh, shh. Asterisk. You feel the heat radiating towards you, touching your frozen cheeks, thawing the tip of your nose. It is a prickly, tingling sensation as the blood rushes back to the surface of your skin. It feels good. It feels like waking up. You find a spot on the wooden bench near the fire. You sit down. The wood is polished smooth by years of use. It is warm. You lean forward, extending your hands towards the flames. You watch the orange light play over your skin. You are no longer the shepherd on the ridge. You are no longer the figure in the snow. You are here. You are safe. Outside, the night has fully descended. The temperature is dropping, plummeting down into the depths of freezing. The snow is beginning to drift against the walls. The stars are watching with their cold, unblinking eyes. But none of that matters now. You are inside the shell. You are inside the cocoon. The retreat is complete. Just breathe. Breathe in the smoke and the warmth. Let the cold drain out of your toes. Let the winter stay outside. You are home. The fire crackles softly in front of you, a sound like dry twigs breaking underfoot, but gentle, contained. Asterisk snap, pop, hiss. Asterisk. It is the only sharp sound in the room. Everything else is muffled, softened, absorbed. As you sit there, warming your hands, I want you to look away from the flames for a moment. Look up. Look around. I want you to really see this space that is holding you. We often think of buildings as just inanimate objects, piles of wood and stone. But this longhouse, it feels like a living thing. It feels like a beast that has curled itself around you to keep you warm. To understand how the Vikings survived the brutal, killing cold of the north, you have to understand the genius of this architecture. It wasn't just built, it was engineered for survival. It is a machine designed to trap heat. Let's start with the walls. From where you sit, they look dark and indistinct in the shadows, but if you were to walk over and touch them, you would feel something unexpected. They are not cold stone. They are not thin wood planks. They are turf, earth, soil. Imagine the process of building these walls. It is a labor of immense patience. In the summer, when the ground was thawed, the builders went out to the bogs. They cut squares of earth, thick blocks of soil tangled with the roots of grass and heather. These roots are nature's rebar. They hold the earth together, giving it structure and strength. The builders stacked these blocks, layer upon layer, in a herringbone pattern, grass side down, grass side up, interlocking like a complex puzzle. The walls are thick, not just a few inches. We are talking about 3 feet, maybe 4 feet of solid earth. Think about that thickness. Think about the density. It is essentially a man-made cave. When the winter wind screams outside, slamming against the house with the force of a hurricane, it hits that wall of earth and stops dead. It cannot penetrate. The cold tries to seep in, but it has to travel through feet of soil. It takes days, weeks for the cold to migrate through that mass. By the time it reaches the inside, it has lost its teeth, and the walls breathe. That is the strange magic of turf. It lives. In the spring, the grass on the outside will turn green. Little flowers might bloom on the side of the house. It absorbs moisture when it rains and releases it when it's dry. It regulates the humidity inside. That is why the air in here doesn't feel stagnant or dead. It feels earthy. It smells like a cellar, yes, but a healthy cellar. It smells of damp roots and history. Now, look up. The roof. It is a masterpiece of carpentry, hidden in the gloom above your head. You can see the heavy timber beams, darkened by soot, crossing the space like the ribs of a giant whale. These beams are massive pine logs, felled in the deep forests, dragged here by horses, and hewn by hand with axes. You can still see the marks of the adze on the wood, the rhythmic scallops where the carpenter shaped the beam. Asterisk, chop, 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 asterisk. Every mark is a memory of human effort. Resting on these beams is layers of birch bark. You can't see it from here, but it's there, waterproof and oily, shedding the melting snow. And on top of the bark, more turf. The roof is a meadow, suspended in the air. In the summer, goats might climb up there to graze. But now, in the winter, the roof is covered in a thick blanket of snow. And here is the beautiful irony. The snow helps. Snow is an insulator. It is trapped air. A foot of snow on the roof acts like a down comforter spread over the house. It holds the heat in. The very element that defines the winter, the snow, is used to defeat the winter. The house wears the snow like a hat. The shape of the roof is important too. It is curved, slightly bowed, like an overturned ship. This isn't just for style. It sheds the wind. When the gales blow down from the mountains, they don't hit a flat wall. They flow over the curves of the house. The house is aerodynamic. It hunkers down. It hugs the ground. It doesn't try to fight the landscape. It merges with it. Now, bring your gaze back down to the interior. The Longhouse is essentially one single room. There are no hallways to carry drafts. There are no unused spare rooms where the cold can gather and wait. It is one volume of air. This is crucial. It means that every source of heat, the fire, the bodies, the cooking pot, contributes to warming the whole space. There are no barriers to the warmth. It flows freely, circulating from the center outwards. The floor you are resting your feet on is packed earth. It has been stamped down by generations of feet until it is almost as hard as concrete. But it is not cold. It is covered in a thick layer of dried rushes, straw, and sometimes spruce boughs. This flooring is soft and springy. It insulates your feet from the ground, and when you walk on it, it releases a faint, pleasant scent. Asterisk, crush. Scent. Asterisk. The smell of dried grass and pine needles. It smells like a summer field brought indoors. Along the walls, raised up from the floor, are the benches, the Times Pallure asterisk. These are broad wooden platforms that run the length of the hall. This is where daily life happens. You sit there to work, you sit there to eat, and later, you will lie there to sleep. By raising the living area off the floor, even just a foot or two, you are lifted out of the coldest layer of air. Cold air sinks. It crawls along the floor, but up on the platform, you are in the warmer zone. There are no windows, not real ones. Glass is rare and precious, not for windows in a farmhouse. There are only small shutters, tiny openings that can be propped open in the summer but are sealed tight now. Tightly fitted wood, perhaps stuffed with wool or moss to seal the cracks. This lack of windows makes the house dark. Yes, even at noon, it is twilight inside. But windows are holes. Windows are leaks. In the deep winter, you trade light for warmth. You accept the darkness as the price of survival. The fire provides enough light. You learn to live in the glow. Look at the smoke. It doesn't go up a chimney like in a modern house. There is no chimney. The smoke rises from the central hearth and drifts up into the roof space. It hangs there, a blue-gray cloud among the rafters. Eventually, it finds its way out through small vents in the roof ridge or gable ends. But before it leaves, it does something useful. It cures the wood. It keeps insects away. And the layer of warm smoke trapped against the roof acts as yet another layer of insulation. It is a blanket of warm air that prevents the heat from escaping too quickly. Yes, it makes the eyes sting a little sometimes. Yes, it makes everything smell of soot, but that smell is the smell of warmth. If there were no smoke, there would be no fire. If there were no fire, there would be death. So you learn to love the smoke. You learn to stay low, below the haze, where the air is clearer. I honestly find the intelligence of this design staggering. They didn't have thermometers. They didn't have R values or insulation ratings. They had trial and error. They had the experience of their ancestors. They learned that stone walls sweat and freeze, but turf walls breathe and hold heat. They learned that a high ceiling traps smoke, but a low ceiling feels oppressive, so they found the perfect height. Imagine the sounds of the house settling. As the temperature drops outside, the timbers contract. Asterisk, creak, groan, asterisk. It sounds like the house is talking. It sounds like the timbers of a ship at sea. And in a way, this is a ship. It is a vessel carrying its crew through the ocean of winter. The storm is the sea, and the house is the hull. You are the passengers. The darkness in the corners of the room is not scary. It is soft. The lack of sharp angles, the way the light fades into shadow, it makes the space feel limitless and intimate at the same time. You cannot see the far end of the hall clearly. It dissolves into gloom, but you know what is there. You know the boundaries. You can feel the draft-free stillness. In a modern house, you often feel currents of air, heat blowing from vents, drafts from thin windows. Here, the air is still. It sits heavy and stable. It wraps around you. I want you to imagine reaching out and touching one of the wooden posts that holds up the roof. It is smooth, polished by the oil from thousands of hands that have touched it over the centuries. It feels warm. It feels alive. It is a tree that has been given a second life as a protector. There is a sense of enclosure here that is profound. You are deep inside. You are contained. The world outside, the world of snow and ice and biting wind, feels like a distant dream. It cannot touch you here. The walls are too thick. The roof is too heavy. The door is barred. You are inside the belly of the beast, and the beast is kind. Think about the separation. That thin wooden door you step through is the only thing separating a temperature of maybe 50 degrees inside from 20 below zero outside. That door is a portal between life and death, and you are on the right side of it. You settle deeper onto the bench. You pull your legs up. You lean back against the turf wall, which is covered with woven tapestries or animal skins to keep the dirt off. The skin feels soft against your back. You feel the solidity of the wall behind you. It is not going anywhere. The architecture of survival is not just about staying alive. It is about creating a space where life can continue, where stories can be told, where sleep can come without fear. It is a fortress of comfort. You look at the smoke drifting lazily above. It swirls in slow, hypnotic patterns, catching the firelight. It looks like spirits dancing. It looks like rivers flowing in the air. You listen to the wind howling outside. Asterisk. Woo. Asterisk. It sounds angry. It sounds hungry. It claws at the thatch. It bangs against the eaves, but it is impotent. It cannot get in. Its fury only makes the silence inside feel deeper, sweeter. The contrast is what makes it beautiful. To be warm when the world is cold. To be safe when the world is dangerous. To be still when the world is chaotic. This house gives you that gift. Feel the gratitude for the roof. Feel the gratitude for the walls. Feel the gratitude for the floor. They are your armor. You are safe in the Longhouse. You are safe in the dark. Rest your eyes on the dark beams above. Let the structure hold you. Let the engineering of the past cradle you. The house is standing guard. You can let go. The central hearth. The Times Langeld asterisk. It is not just a hole in the ground filled with burning wood. It is the altar of the home. It is the sun of this small, enclosed universe. Without it, the darkness would be absolute, and the cold would be lethal. Look at the hearth closely. It is a long, rectangular pit, lined with stones that have been carefully chosen from the riverbed. They are smooth, rounded stones, gray and brown, some cracked from years of heat. They define the boundary between the fire and the floor. They are the container for the wild energy of the flame. The fire is burning low right now. It is in a transition state. The day's fire is dying down, and the night's fire needs to be built. This is a crucial moment. It is a daily ritual that requires knowledge, patience, and respect. You watch as the head of the household, perhaps the grandmother or the father, approaches the hearth. They kneel on the earthen floor. Their movements are slow and deliberate. There is no rushing with fire. Fire respects only patience. They pick up an iron poker, a long rod with a hooked end, black with soot. It makes a soft clink times as it touches the stones. First, the raking. The poker moves through the gray ash. Asterisk. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch, asterisk. It is a dry, whispering sound. They push aside the white, fluffy ash to reveal the heart of the fire. There they are, the embers. They are glowing deep red, like the eyes of dragons sleeping in a cave. They pulse with heat. When the air hits them, they brighten to orange, then to a fierce, hot yellow. They are alive. They have been kept alive for months, perhaps years. The fire in a Viking home is never allowed to go out completely. It is banking at night, woken in the morning, fed during the day. It is a continuous thread of warmth stretching back through time. The heat radiates outward. You can feel it on your face, a dry, tightening sensation. It warms the skin instantly. Now, the feeding. The firekeeper reaches for the fuel pile. But they do not just throw any wood on. They choose. First, the peat. I find peat to be such a fascinating fuel. It is not wood. It is earth that has remembered being a plant. It is cut from the bogs in the summer, square blocks of dense, dark soil, dried in the sun until they are hard as bricks. The firekeeper picks up a block of peat. It is rough and fibrous. It crumbles slightly in the hand. They place it carefully on the embers. Asterisk. Thud. Asterisk. Peat does not burst into flame like pine. It smolders. It glows. It releases its heat slowly, steadily, over hours. It is the endurance runner of fuels. It is perfect for the long night. Watch the smoke rise from the peat. It is different from wood smoke. It is thicker, creamier. It has a distinct smell, earthy, rich, mossy. It smells of ancient soil and deep roots. It is an incense of the north. It fills the room, masking the other smells, creating a fragrant haze that hangs in the air. Next, the wood. Birch. The firekeeper selects a log of white birch. The bark is like paper, peeling and curling. It catches fire easily. They place it across the peat. Asterisk. Snap. Asterisk. The dry bark ignites instantly. A bright, yellow flame leaps up, cheerful and energetic. It provides the light. It pushes back the shadows in the corners of the hall. The birch smells sweet and sharp. Pine. A log of pine, sticky with resin, is added. The resin hisses as it heats up. Asterisk. Sizzle. Pop. Asterisk. It burns hot and fast. It throws sparks. This is the fuel for heat. It drives the temperature up, creating a bubble of warmth that expands outward from the hearth. You watch the flames dance. They are hypnotic. They twist and turn, never repeating the same shape twice. They are yellow, orange, blue at the base. They lick at the wood, consuming it, transforming it into heat and light and ash. Asterisk. Crackle. Pop. Whoosh. Asterisk. The sound of the fire is a language. It speaks of safety. It speaks of life. It drowns out the sound of the wind outside. The wind can howl all it wants. The fire is answering back with its own song. The smoke rises. It drifts up towards the roof, joining the cloud among the rafters. It is a blue-gray river flowing upwards. You watch it swirl in the currents of air. It is mesmerizing. The warmth spreads. It reaches you on the bench. It soaks into your wool clothes. It penetrates the layers. It finds your cold hands and warms them. It finds your cold feet and warms them. You feel your muscles relaxing. You didn't realize how tense you were, how braced against the cold you had been, until the heat touched you. Your shoulders drop another inch. You let out a long breath. This hearth is more than a heater. It is the center of gravity. Look around the fire. The faces of your family are illuminated by the glow. The light softens their features. It hides the wrinkles of worry, the scars of work. It makes everyone look beautiful and mysterious. Their eyes reflect the flames, tiny dancing sparks in the dark pupils. There is a ring of stones, and inside that, a ring of fire, and around that, a ring of people. It is a sacred geometry. The firekeeper adjusts a log. A shower of sparks flies up. Asterisk. Whoosh. Asterisk. They look like fireflies ascending to the ceiling. They fade and vanish before they hit the thatch. The heat is intense now. You can feel it drying your skin. You turn your hands over, warming the palms, then the backs. It feels like dipping your hands into warm water. There is a kettle hanging over the fire. It is made of iron, black and heavy. It hangs from a chain that is suspended from a beam high above. The chain creaks as the kettle sways slightly. Asterisk. Squeak. Creak. Asterisk. Inside the kettle, water is beginning to boil. You can hear it. Asterisk. Murmur. Bubble. Hiss. Asterisk. Steam rises from the spout, a white plume joining the smoke. The water will be used for tea, or for washing, or for the stew. It is another layer of warmth, hot liquid to warm the inside, just as the fire warms the outside. I love the thought of this ancient technology. It is so simple, yet so perfect. We have thermostats and radiators and forced air systems that hum and click. They have a pile of rocks and some dead trees, and yet the feeling of staring into a fire is something that a radiator can never replicate. It connects us to the first humans who ever huddled in a cave. It triggers something deep in our brain that says, asterisk, survival, success, peace, asterisk. You watch a piece of wood crumble into coals. It glows with an intense, pulsing red light. It looks like a city burning in the distance, or a sunset trapped in a rock. The transformation of matter into energy. You are witnessing physics, chemistry, and magic, all happening in a pile of sticks. The smell of the peat smoke is heavy now. It clings to your clothes. It clings to your hair. Tomorrow, you will smell like smoke. Everyone will. It is the perfume of the winter. It is the scent of belonging. If you met a stranger on the road and they smelled of this smoke, you would know they have a home. You would know they are warm. The firekeeper sits back. Their job is done for now. The fire is built. It is stable. It will burn for hours. They wipe their soot-stained hands on a cloth. They look satisfied. The circle of warmth is complete. You lean back against the wall. The turf behind you is cool, but the air in front of you is hot. You are sandwiched between the earth and the fire. You close your eyes. You can still see the flames dancing behind your eyelids, orange and red patterns shifting in the dark. You listen to the fire. It is a constant, white noise. It covers up the silence. It fills the room with a sense of presence. You are not alone. The fire is a companion. Asterisk snap. Asterisk. A loud crack as a knot in the wood explodes. It startles you for a second. Then you settle deeper. It is just the wood speaking. You think about the cold outside, the snow piling up against the door, the ice forming on the river. It feels miles away. It feels like a story happening to someone else. Here, in the radius of the hearth, it is summer. It is light. It is life. You feel a profound gratitude for the fire, for the trees that grew the wood, for the bog that grew the peat, for the hands that cut it and dried it and carried it, for the spark that lit it. It is a gift. You are warm. You are so warm. Your eyelids are heavy. The heat is making you drowsy. It is a heavy, pleasant lethargy. You could fall asleep right here, sitting up, but not yet. There is still the meal. There are still the stories. You open your eyes. The fire is still there, faithful and bright. It will be there all night. Even when it burns down to coals, the heat will remain in the stones. The hearth will radiate warmth until the morning, a thermal battery charged by the flames. You watch a single flame detach itself from the log and float upward for a second, a ghost of blue fire, before vanishing. This is the ritual, the gathering of the light, the conquering of the dark. Every night, the sun goes away, and every night, we build it again in the center of our home. We are the fire keepers. Rest your gaze on the embers. Let the pulsing red light hypnotize you. Pulse, pulse, pulse. It matches your heartbeat. You are warm. You are centered. You are safe. The fire provides the intense, radiant heat for the center of the hall. But there is another source of warmth in this house, a gentler, living warmth. It comes from the far end of the Longhouse, from the shadows behind the low wooden partition. Let us turn our attention to the byre, the animal quarters. In a modern world, we separate ourselves from our animals. We put them in barns, in stables, far away from where we sleep. We think it is cleaner, but the Vikings knew better. They knew that a cow is a furnace. They knew that a sheep is a radiator wrapped in wool. In the winter, the animals are brought inside, not just for their protection, but for ours. It is a symbiotic survival. Walk with me to the partition. It is a simple wall of wooden planks, waist high. It separates the human space from the animal space, but it does not block the air. It does not block the heat. Lean over the rail. Look into the gloom. It takes a moment for your eyes to adjust. The firelight from the hearth barely reaches here, casting long, strange shadows. But you can hear them, you can smell them, you can feel them. There are 3 cows. They are smaller than modern cattle, sturdy and shaggy. Their coats are thick, grown long for the winter. They are lying down in the straw, their legs tucked under them. They are chewing their cud. Asterisk, crunch, munch, swallow, asterisk. It is a slow, rhythmic, grinding sound. A sound of absolute peace. The jaw moves sideways. The eyes are half closed, long lashes resting on their cheeks. They look meditative. A cow's body temperature is higher than a human's, about 101 degrees Fahrenheit. They are large engines of biology, burning hay and turning it into heat. You can feel the waves of warmth rising off them. It rolls over the partition like a gentle tide. It smells of sweet hay, of milk, of manure but dried and mixed with straw, an earthy ammonia scent that is not unpleasant to those who live with it. It smells of life. Next to the cows, there are sheep, 6 of them. They are huddled together in a tight pack, a single mass of gray wool. They are the ultimate heat trap. The wool captures the air, holding the warmth against their skin. They share it with each other, and they share it with the room. Occasionally, a sheep shifts, asterisk, rustle, bleat, asterisk, a soft, low murmur. A hoof taps on the wooden floorboards. And the goats. They are the restless ones. They are perched on a pile of hay, watching you with their strange, rectangular pupils. They are curious. They nibble at the wood of the partition. Asterisk. Scrape. Scrape. Asterisk. The presence of these animals changes the atmosphere of the house. It makes the air heavier, more humid. Their breath adds moisture to the dry winter air. You can see it puffs of steam rising from their nostrils in the cool end of the hall. Asterisk. Huff, puff, huff, puff, asterisk. It is the breath of the house. Imagine the sheer volume of heat they produce. It is like having a large, low-grade heater running constantly, day and night. It doesn't use wood. It doesn't need tending. It just needs hay and water. It is a biological battery, and there is something deeply comforting about their presence. It is the comfort of not being the only living things in the void. When the wind howls outside and the snow buries the world, the sound of a cow sighing is a reminder that life goes on. Nature is here, inside the walls, with you. You reach out your hand. A cow stretches her neck. Her nose touches your palm. It is wet and rough and warm. She exhales. The hot breath washes over your hand. It feels incredibly good. It connects you to her. You are both mammals. You are both fighting the cold. You are on the same team. You stroke her forehead. The hair is coarse and curly. She pushes against your hand, wanting the contact. The Vikings called this the living heat. It is a heat that has a heartbeat. You walk back towards the central hearth, but you keep your ears tuned to the byre. The background noise of the animals, the chewing, the breathing, the shifting, creates a soundscape of security. It is a white noise that tells you everything is fine. If the animals were panicked, you would know. If they are calm, you can be calm. This cohabitation is ancient. For thousands of years, humans and animals have huddled together against the dark. We have shared our caves, our huts, our longhouses. We have traded protection for warmth. Think about the thermal dynamics of the room. The heat from the fire rises and spreads. The heat from the animals rises and spreads. The two heat sources meet in the middle, creating a zone of comfort where the people live. The cold walls are pushed back. The draft from the door is neutralized. It is a bubble, a microclimate. The animals also provide another service. They eat the scraps. They provide the milk. Even in the depth of winter, the cows are giving. The bucket of milk sitting on the table is still warm from the udder. It is liquid energy. You sit back down on the bench. You look towards the dark end of the hall. You can just make out the shapes of the horned heads, the glint of an eye reflecting the firelight. You feel a sense of gratitude. These creatures are not just property. They are roommates. They are friends. The smell of the byre mixes with the smell of the smoke. It is a rich, complex aroma. To a stranger, it might be overpowering. To you, it is the smell of survival. It means you are not freezing. It means you have resources. A goat sneezes. Asterisk. Cha. Asterisk. Someone in the family laughs softly. Bless you, old one, a child says. It is a moment of connection. The barrier between species is thin here. We are all just bodies, seeking warmth. As the night deepens, the animals will settle down to sleep. The chewing will stop. The breathing will deepen. They will become mounds of warmth in the dark. But they will continue to radiate heat all night long. While the fire burns down to coals, the cows will keep the temperature from dropping too low. They are the backup system. They are the insurance policy against the frost. If it gets truly, dangerously cold, if the fire fails or the wood runs out, you can go to them. You can climb over the partition. You can lie down in the straw right next to the flank of a cow. You can press your back against her side. She will share her heat. She will be a living radiator. Many a child has survived a winter night by sleeping with the sheep. It is a primal safety, the safety of the herd. You feel the air moving gently in the hall. It is the convection current created by the animals. The warm air rising from the byre, flowing along the ceiling, cooling, falling, and flowing back along the floor. A cycle of air, a cycle of breath. You are breathing the same air as the ox. You are sharing the same oxygen. You are part of the same organism. The house is a lung. Let yourself sink into this feeling of connection. You are not isolated. You are surrounded by life. Warm, breathing, heavy life. The sound of the cud chewing starts again. Asterisk, crunch, munch, asterisk. It is a slow metronome. It lulls you. It tells you that there is plenty of hay. There is plenty of time. There is no rush. The cow is patient. The sheep is patient. The goat is, well, the goat is settling down. You are patient. You watch the firelight flicker on the wooden partition. You imagine the heat flowing over it like a golden river. You are warm. You are sheltered. You are not alone. The four-legged friends are on guard. Their warmth is your warmth. Rest in the knowledge of the herd. Sleep. The fire has been fed. The animals have been greeted. The cold has been locked outside the heavy oak door. Now, the atmosphere inside the longhouse shifts again. It moves from the sharp, smoky scent of fresh fuel to something richer, deeper, and infinitely more satisfying. It is the shift from survival to sustenance. Honestly, is there anything more primal, more fundamentally human, than the anticipation of a hot meal on a freezing night? I don't think so. It is a hunger that goes beyond just an empty stomach. It is a hunger for heat, a hunger for reassurance. When you smell food cooking in the depth of winter, your body sends a signal to your brain that says, asterisk, we are going to make it. We have enough. Asterisk. Let us focus our attention on the cauldron. It has been hanging over the fire all afternoon, suspended by a heavy iron chain from the roof beam. The chain is black with soot, each link forged by hand, strong enough to hold the weight of the water and the meat. The cauldron itself is iron, round-bottomed, blackened by 1,000 fires. It looks like a dark planet orbiting the sun of the hearth. Inside the cauldron, a transformation is taking place. This is the alchemy of the kitchen. The water, drawn from the icy stream earlier in the day, or melted from snow, has been heated slowly. It is rolling now. Asterisk bubble. Bloop. Bubble. Bloop. Asterisk. It is a thick, heavy boil. The steam rising from the pot is dense and fragrant. It curls up into the smoke, adding moisture to the dry air. You can feel it on your face, a warm, humid kiss that softens your skin. The meal tonight is time scouse, asterisk, or a version of it, a stew. It is a dish born of necessity, but perfected by time. Let's break down what is in there. Really look at it. First, the meat. It is salted pork, preserved from the autumn slaughter. Before it went into the pot, it was hard, gray with salt, stiff as a board. But the boiling water has worked its magic. It has drawn the salt out, seasoning the broth. It has softened the fibers. The meat is now tender, falling apart into shreds. It offers up its fat to the soup. You can see the glistening pools of melted fat floating on the surface, golden circles shimmering in the firelight. That fat is precious. In our modern world, we might trim it away, but here, in the Viking winter, fat is life. It is the fuel that will burn in your body through the long night, keeping your internal furnace going while you sleep. Then, the barley, the ancient grain. It was hard and gritty when it went in, little stones of nutrition. Now it has swelled. It has drunk the broth. It has released its starch, thickening the water into a rich, creamy gravy. Every grain is a little capsule of energy, waiting to be released. And the root vegetables, turnips, perhaps some carrots if they kept well in the sandbox, onions. They have dissolved into the stew, losing their shape but giving their flavor. They provide the sweetness, the earthiness. They ground the dish. The smell is overwhelming. It fills the entire hall. It creeps into the sleeping alcoves. It wafts over the partition to the animals. It smells of savory salt, of sweet onions, of rich meat. It makes your mouth water instantly. It is a physical reaction. Your body is preparing to receive the warmth. Watch the cook. It is likely the mother of the household, or perhaps a grandmother whose hands know the recipe by heart. She does not measure with spoons. She measures with instinct. She stirs the pot with a long wooden ladle. The wood of the ladle is stained dark by years of stews. Asterisk, swish, stir, swish, stir, asterisk. The sound of the ladle scraping the bottom of the iron pot is comforting. It is a domestic rhythm. She lifts the ladle, checking the consistency. The stew pours back in a thick, heavy stream. Asterisk, slosh, asterisk. It is ready, but the stew is only half the meal. Look to the side of the hearth. There are flat stones placed right at the edge of the fire, heated until they are almost too hot to touch. On these stones, flatbread is baking. This is simple bread. Just barley, flour, water, maybe a pinch of salt. No yeast, no rising. It is the bread of the nomad, the bread of the survivor. The dough has been patted into thin rounds, leaving the marks of the cook's fingers on the surface. You can smell the grain toasting. It is a nutty, dry smell, distinct from the wet richness of the stew. It smells of harvest fields in the sun. It smells of summer, stored in a sack. The cook uses a small iron tong to flip the bread. Asterisk, flap, asterisk. The side that was against the stone is browned, speckled with darker spots where the heat was highest. It is crisp on the outside, dense and chewy on the inside. Now, the serving begins. This is a ritual of distribution. The household gathers closer. The circle tightens. Everyone holds a bowl. These are not ceramic bowls that clink and chip. They are wooden bowls, carved from birch or ash. They are warm to the touch, light and smooth. You run your thumb over the rim of your bowl. You can feel the grain of the wood. You can feel the history of the tree. The cook ladles the stew. Asterisk, scoop, pour, scoop, pour, asterisk. The steam rises from your bowl, warming your face. You hold the bowl in both hands, cradling it. The heat transfers instantly through the wood into your palms. It feels incredibly good. Your hands have been cold all day, stiff and clumsy. Now, the heat seeps into the joints, loosening them. You just hold the bowl for a moment, using it as a hand warmer. You take a piece of the flatbread. It is hot, fresh from the stone. You tear it. The sound of the crust breaking is a tiny crackle. Asterisk, crack, asterisk. Steam escapes from the bread. You dip the bread into the stew. It acts as a spoon. It soaks up the gravy, turning soft and heavy. You lift it to your mouth. The first bite. Oh, the sensation of that first bite. It is intense. It is almost too hot, burning your tongue slightly, but you welcome it. The heat travels down your throat, tracing a line of fire all the way to your stomach. It lands deep inside you, a glowing coal of nutrition. The taste is salty, savory, rich. The texture is soft, comforting. It requires very little chewing. It is food that wants to be eaten. It is food that hugs you from the inside out. You take a bite of the meat. It falls apart. It tastes of smoke and salt. It tastes of the effort it took to raise the pig, to butcher it, to cure it. You are eating the fruit of your labor. You eat slowly. There is no rush. The wind is howling outside, but here, there is only the rhythm of eating. Asterisk. Dip, eat, dip, eat. Asterisk. Everyone is eating. The conversation dies down. There is a reverent silence, broken only by the sounds of chewing, of swallowing, of spoons scraping wood. It is a communal meditation. In this moment, everyone is equal. The head of the household, the children, the servants, everyone has a bowl. Everyone is sharing the same pot. The hierarchy dissolves in the face of hunger. You look around the fire. You see the flush rising in people's cheeks. It is the meat sweat, the heat of digestion kicking in. Your body is firing up its engines. The metabolic rate is increasing. You are turning calories into thermal energy. This is the secret of sleeping in the cold. You do not just rely on blankets. You turn yourself into a heater. You fill the furnace with fuel. Someone passes a block of butter. It is yellow, creamy, churned from the milk of the cows standing just a few feet away. You take a knife and slice a generous piece. You put it on your hot bread. Watch it melt. It turns from a solid to a liquid, sliding into the crevices of the bread, turning it golden and translucent. You eat it. It is pure fat, pure energy. It coats your mouth. It feels luxurious. In a cold climate, fat is not something to be avoided. It is something to be craved. It is the insulation for your nerves. It is the oil for your joints. You finish your first bowl. You feel a heaviness settling in your stomach. It is a good heaviness. It is the feeling of being anchored. You are no longer light and flighty with hunger. You are solid. The cook offers more. Eat, she says. The night is long. You take a little more. You wipe the bowl clean with the last piece of bread. Not a drop is wasted. To waste food here would be a sin against nature. You set the bowl down. You sit back on the bench. You feel a wave of lethargy washing over you. It starts in your belly and spreads out to your limbs. Your arms feel heavy. Your legs feel heavy. Your eyelids feel heavy. This is the postprandial somnolence, the food coma. But here, it is a survival mechanism. Your body wants to rest so it can focus on digestion. It wants to shut down the muscles and focus on the core. You take a sip of water from a horn cup. It is cold, shocking after the hot stew. It cleanses the palate. You look at the fire through half-closed eyes. The flames seem to be moving slower now. The world is slowing down. The sharp edges of the day are blurring. You feel a profound sense of satisfaction. It is not just about being full. It is about being sustained. You have what you need. You are not wanting. Think about the contrast again. Outside, the snow is drifting against the door. The temperature is dropping to 20 below. A lost traveler out there would be freezing, their energy draining away, their body turning off. But you are glowing. You are a radiator. If someone touched your skin now, you would feel hot. You are generating a field of warmth that will last for hours. The meal is the bridge. It bridges the gap between the activity of the day and the stillness of the night. It is the fuel that will carry you across the dark ocean of sleep. You listen to the small sounds of the meal ending, the stacking of wooden bowls, asterisk, clack, clack, asterisk, the sweeping of crumbs into the fire, the wiping of hands. The family settles. They shift closer to the fire or lean back against the wall. There is a collective sigh, a releasing of breath. Ah, my Ulf, the tension of the day is gone. The worry about food is gone. The worry about the cold is gone. You are full. You are warm. You are ready for the next stage. You wrap your wool tunic tighter around you, trapping that new body heat. You feel like a banked fire yourself. You are glowing from the inside. Just sit with that feeling for a moment. The feeling of absolute satiety. The feeling of having enough. In a world that is always demanding more, always hungry for the next thing, this simple bowl of stew is a lesson. It is enough. You are enough. Let the warmth radiate. Let it travel down to your toes. Let it travel up to the top of your head. You are a vessel of heat in a cold world. Rest in that fullness. The bowls have been cleared away. The crumbs have been swept into the hearth, tiny offerings to the flames. The physical hunger has been satisfied, but now, as the night deepens and the darkness presses against the turf walls, a different kind of hunger emerges. A hunger for the mind, a hunger for connection, a hunger for the stories that bind this family, this clan, this people together. The work of the hands slows down. The spinning wheel turns a little slower. Asterisk, whir, pause, whir, asterisk. The needle moves through the cloth with a leisurely rhythm. The men stop sharpening their knives and just hold them, testing the edge with a thumb, staring into the coals. The atmosphere in the longhouse thickens. It becomes heavy with expectation. The air is still hazy with the blue smoke of the peat and the savory scent of the stew. But now, it seems to hold a stillness, a waiting quality. It is time for the saga. All eyes turn to one person, the elder. Let's imagine him. He is the grandfather, perhaps, or a great-uncle. He sits in the high seat, the Times-on Veji asterisk, nearest to the fire. He is wrapped in a cloak of wolf fur, the gray hair of the pelt blending with the long, gray beard that flows down his chest like a frozen waterfall. His face is a map of the north, deep lines carved by the wind, by the sun reflecting off the snow, by years of squinting at the horizon. His eyes are milky with age, perhaps a little rheumy, but when he catches the firelight, they spark with a sudden, fierce intelligence. He clears his throat. Asterisk, harumph, asterisk. It is a sound that commands instant silence. The children stop fidgeting. The baby on its mother's lap stops cooing. Even the cows in the byre seem to settle down, as if they too are listening. He does not begin immediately. He waits. He lets the silence build. He knows the power of the pause. He reaches out a gnarled hand and throws a small handful of dried herbs, juniper, maybe, or mugwort, onto the fire. Asterisk, hiss, crackle, asterisk. A puff of aromatic smoke rises, twisting into shapes. A dragon, a ship, a sword. It sets the stage. Then he begins to speak. His voice is not loud. He does not shout like a warrior on the battlefield. He speaks in a low, resonant rumble. It is a voice that comes from deep in the chest, a voice that has been seasoned by smoke and time. It is a hypnotic voice. It has a rhythm, a cadence that is almost musical. Uchoth spith ek ayar, elgar kinder. Hearing, I ask, of all the holy kin. He is reciting the old poetry, the Times Voluspa asterisk, the prophecy of the Cirrus. Or perhaps he is telling the tale of Thor fishing for the Midgard serpent, or the tragedy of Balder the Beautiful. I want you to listen to the sound of the language, Old Norse. It is a language of hard consonants and rolling vowels. It sounds like stones tumbling in a river. It sounds like ice cracking. It sounds like the wind in the pines. Even if you don't understand the words, you understand the feeling. It is guttural, rhythmic, grounding. He speaks in meter, alliterative verse. The sounds repeat, weaving a pattern that hooks the mind. Ask veit extanda, heitir Yggdrasil, and ash I know there stands. Yggdrasil is its name. The rhythm acts like a metronome. Asterisk da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Asterisk, it syncs with your heartbeat. It syncs with the breathing of the room. It creates a trance state. You watch the fire as he speaks. The flames are the illustrations for the story. When he speaks of the gold of the gods, the fire flares up yellow and bright. When he speaks of the frost giants, the fire seems to dim, turning to cold blue embers. When he speaks of the blood of battle, the coals glow a deep, menacing red. The shadows on the wall dance. Look at them. They stretch and shrink. They detach themselves from the objects that cast them and become characters. That shadow of the loom looks like a spider-woman. That shadow of the post looks like a one-eyed wanderer. The Longhouse becomes a theater of the imagination. The elder is not just telling a story. He is weaving a spell. He is transporting the room away from the cold winter night. Suddenly, you are not sitting on a hard bench in a snowbound valley. You are on the deck of a longship, feeling the spray of the salt water. You are in the great hall of Valhalla, hearing the clash of mead horns. You are walking the rainbow bridge. The walls of the house dissolve. The roof opens up. The universe expands. This is the mental survival mechanism. The body is confined, trapped by the snow, but the mind is allowed to roam free. It travels to the ends of the earth. It travels to the beginning of time. You look at the faces of the listeners. The children are wide-eyed, their mouths slightly open. They are terrified and thrilled. They are learning the names of their gods, the history of their ancestors, the rules of their society. They are learning that bravery is good, that oath-breaking is bad, that fate is inescapable. The adults are listening too, but differently. They are resting in the familiar words. They know these stories by heart. They know exactly what happens next, and that is the comfort. In a world where the weather is unpredictable, where crops can fail, where life is fragile, the story is stable. Thor always catches the serpent. Odin always loses his eye. The world always ends in Ragnarok and is always born again. The predictability is soothing. It is a lullaby for the anxious mind. The elder's voice drops lower. He is coming to a sad part of the tale, the death of a hero. And so he fell, the brave one. Silence took him. The room holds its breath. You can hear the wind sighing outside, mourning in sympathy. You feel a tear prickling your eye, not out of genuine sadness, but out of a beautiful, cathartic melancholy. It feels good to feel something other than cold. It feels good to share an emotion with 20 other people. Then the tone shifts. The hero is avenged. The tone becomes triumphant. The rhythm speeds up. Asterisk, strike, blow, clash, fall, asterisk. Your heart races a little. You feel the adrenaline. And then the resolution, the ending, the quiet return to balance. And so it was, and so it is. The elder stops. He leans back. He closes his eyes. The silence that follows the story is thick and heavy. It is not an empty silence. It is a silence full of echoes. The words are still hanging in the smoke. The characters are still fading into the corners. No one speaks for a long time. To speak would be to break the spell too soon. To speak would be to admit that we are just people in a mud house, not gods and heroes. Eventually, someone stirs. That was a good telling, a voice murmurs. A good telling. The spell breaks gently. The world settles back into its shape. But it feels different now. The room feels bigger. The darkness feels less oppressive. It is populated now. The ghosts of the story are standing guard. This storytelling is a form of white noise. It occupies the part of the brain that worries. You cannot worry about the wolf at the door when you are listening to the story of the Fenris wolf. You cannot worry about the dwindling food supply when you are feasting in your mind with the Einherjar. It is a distraction. It is a meditation. The fire has burned down to a bed of pulsing coals. The light is dim, a soft red twilight. The elder takes a sip of mead. He looks tired. Giving the story is giving energy. He has poured his spirit into the room. You feel a wave of drowsiness washing over you. The excitement of the story has faded, leaving behind a pleasant exhaustion. It is the feeling you get after watching a long movie or reading a book for hours. Your eyes are tired. Your brain is full. You watch the shadows stop dancing. They settle into stillness. The dragon becomes a loom again. The giant becomes a post. But the magic remains. You realize that these stories are the invisible insulation of the house. The turf walls keep out the wind, but the stories keep out the despair. They keep out the loneliness. They wrap the community in a shared narrative. We are the people who tell these stories, the silence says. We are the people who survive. You feel a deep sense of belonging. You are part of the circle. You are part of the chain of memory that stretches back thousands of years. The elder clears his throat again, softly this time. The night is old, he says. The fire wants to sleep. It is the signal. The time for words is over. The time for dreams has begun. You shift on the bench. Your body feels heavy, relaxed, warm. The story has loosened the last knots of tension in your mind. You are ready to lay your head down. You are ready to let your own dreams take over where the saga left off. The voice of the storyteller fades into a memory. The crackle of the fire becomes the only sound. The shadows lengthen. The dark draws closer. But it is a friendly dark. It is a story-filled dark. Rest your mind on the embers of the tale. Let the rhythm of the poetry rock you. Da, D, U, M. Da, D, U, M. Sleep. The saga has ended. The echoes of the old gods have faded into the rafters, joining the smoke that hangs there like a silent gray cloud. The fire in the central hearth has burned down to a bed of glowing coals, a pulsing heart of deep, dark red that casts long, wavering shadows across the floor. The time for words is over. The time for the body has come. Now begins the nightly migration. It is a slow, shuffling movement away from the vertical world of sitting and standing towards the horizontal world of rest. In the modern world, going to bed is often a solitary act, a retreat into a private room behind a closed door. But here, in the Longhouse, it is a communal shift. It is the restructuring of the entire household into a single sleeping organism. Let us look at the times, Pelur *. The sleeping platforms raised along the side walls. During the day, they were benches, hard surfaces for working and sitting. But now, they are transforming. They are becoming the nest. I want you to imagine the foundation of this bed. It starts with the wood itself, broad, thick planks of pine or oak, hewn by hand, smoothed by generations of sleepers. If you were to touch the wood, you would feel the grain, the knots, the history of the tree. It is solid. It does not creak. It is a foundation that says, *, I will hold you, *. On top of the wood, there is straw. Not just a handful, but a thick, compressed mattress of dried grasses, reeds, and perhaps some fragrant herbs like bedstraw or lavender to keep the pests away. Listen to the sound of the straw as a body presses into it. *, crinkle, rustle, crunch. *, it is a dry, whispering sound. It smells of the summer sun that dried it. It creates a layer of air between the sleeper and the wood, a crucial first layer of insulation. It conforms to the body, creating a hollow, a customized shape for hips and shoulders. It is nature's memory foam. But straw alone is not enough for a Viking winter. Now come the skins. Oh, the skins. To understand the comfort of a Viking bed, you have to understand the pelts. Sheepskins. Dozens of them. They are laid fleece side up. Imagine running your hand through a sheepskin. The wool is dense, oily, with natural lanolin, springy and soft. It is not like spun wool. It is wilder, deeper. It traps air in a million tiny pockets. When you lie on a sheepskin, you are not just lying on a rug. You are lying on a masterclass of evolution. The sheep evolved to survive on the frozen, windswept hills. Now, it lends that survival to you. The sensation of skin against wool is unique. It is slightly scratchy, but in a way that stimulates the blood flow, creating a friction that generates warmth. It tickles, then it warms. And then, the coverings, the blankets. These are not light sheets. These are heavy, woven wool blankets, dyed in deep reds or madder browns, or perhaps the natural gray of the sheep. They are thick, felted so tightly that wind cannot pass through them. They have weight. I honestly believe there is a specific comfort in a heavy blanket that we have forgotten in our age of lightweight synthetics. A heavy blanket presses you down. It signals to your nervous system that you are safe, that you are contained. It is a form of deep pressure therapy. Under a Viking blanket, you cannot toss and turn easily. You are held in place. And for the lucky ones, the wealthy ones, there are furs. Wolf, bear, reindeer. Imagine the fur of a reindeer. The hairs are hollow. They are nature's perfect insulators. A reindeer skin is so warm that if you sleep on it in the snow underneath won't even melt. That is how well it keeps the heat in. To pull a reindeer hide up to your chin is to lock the warmth inside with you. It smells wild. It smells of the tundra. It connects you to the wildness outside, but safely. Now, let us watch the family settle in. They do not strip down to nothing. That would be madness in this cold. They take off the outer layers, the heavy cloaks, the belts with knives, the shoes, but they keep the linen undershirts, the wool tunics. They sleep in a layer of clothing. They climb onto the platform. It is a choreography of comfort. First, the children. They are the kernels of heat. They are placed in the middle. Imagine 3 or 4 children tumbling together like puppies. They do not have their own beds. They share a section of the platform. They nestle into the straw. They pull the sheepskins over them. They instinctively seek contact. A cold foot finds a warm calf. A cold hand finds a warm back. They wiggle and shift until they fit together like puzzle pieces. There is no concept of personal space here. Personal space is cold space. Shared space is survival. Then, the adults. They lie on the outside. They are the walls of the nest. The father on one side, the mother on the other, or perhaps an aunt or uncle. They press their backs against the children, sealing them in. This is the puppy pile. It is biology at its most basic. Think about the physics of it. A single body generates about 100 watts of heat, but a pile of 5 or 6 bodies? That is a 600-watt heater running under the blankets. The heat is trapped. It circulates. It builds. Within minutes, the temperature under the furs begins to rise. It becomes a microclimate. Outside the blankets, the air might be dropping to near freezing. You can see your breath in the air of the room. Asterisk, puff, puff, asterisk. But under the blankets, it is tropical. It is 70, 80 degrees. It is a pocket of summer, hidden in the winter. You are one of them now. Imagine you are climbing into this bed. You step up onto the platform. The straw crunches under your knee. You crawl over the family members who are already settled. Make room, you whisper. A space opens up for you. A warm space. You slide into it. The sensation is immediate shock and then relief. The shock of the cold air touching your face and the relief of your body entering the warmth of the cocoon. You lie down on your side. You curl your knees up to your chest, the fetal position. This is the most efficient shape for retaining heat. You are closing the circle of yourself. Your back presses against the warm wool tunic of the person behind you. Your chest presses against the sheepskin-covered back of the person in front of you. You are a link in a chain of warmth. You pull the heavy bare fur up over your shoulder. You tuck it in around your neck, creating a seal. You bury your nose in the fur. It tickles. It smells of wood smoke and animal musk. You lie there for a moment, shivering. It is the last shiver of the day, the body shaking off the residual cold. Asterisk. Shudder. Shudder. Stop. Asterisk. And then the thaw begins. You can feel the heat from the bodies around you seeping into your clothes. It penetrates the wool. It touches your skin. It feels like a warm bath rising around you. Your toes, which were numb blocks of ice, begin to tingle. The blood is returning. The pain of the cold fades into a dull throb, and then into a pleasant buzzing sensation. You listen to the breathing of the group. It starts out chaotic, everyone breathing at different rates, short, shallow breaths of the awake. Ha, hoof, hey, ho. But as the warmth does its work, as the bodies relax, the breathing begins to synchronize. It is a strange, unconscious phenomenon. We entrain to one another. Slowly, the breaths lengthen. They become deeper. Asterisk. Inhale. Exhale. Asterisk. Asterisk. Inhale. Exhale. Asterisk. It sounds like the ocean washing up on a shore, a collective tide of air. It is the sound of the organism resting. You find your own breath joining the rhythm. You cannot help it. You are swept up in the tide. This closeness, this lack of privacy, might seem stifling to a modern mind. We value our space. We want our king-sized beds where we can't even reach the person next to us. But lying here, in the Viking dark, you realize what we have lost. We have lost the feeling of the pack. Here, you are not alone in the dark. If you have a nightmare, someone is right there to wake you. If you get cold, someone is there to warm you. If you hear a strange noise outside, you know that 10 other pairs of ears heard it too. You are part of a fortress of flesh and blood. There is a profound sense of safety in this. It is an ancient safety. It goes back to the time when we huddled in caves against the saber-toothed tigers. It says, asterisk, we are together. We are alive. Asterisk. The straw pokes you a little through the sheet. A knee bumps your leg. Someone snores a sudden, snorting sound that makes a child giggle softly in the dark. Shh, whispers a mother. These are not annoyances. They are reminders of presence. You close your eyes. The darkness under the blanket is absolute. It is a warm, red-black darkness. You feel the weight of the fur pressing you down into the straw. It grounds you. It tells your muscles they don't need to hold you up anymore. Your mind begins to drift. You think about the sheep out in the byre, huddled together just like this. You are doing exactly what they are doing. You are just another animal in the den. The heat is soporific. It is a drug. It weighs down your eyelids. It slows your thoughts. The worries about the firewood, the worries about the food stores, they seem distant now. They belong to the cold world of tomorrow. Here, in the warm world of tonight, there is only the heat. You feel a bead of sweat form on your chest. It is a miracle to sweat in the middle of winter. It is a triumph of engineering and biology. You have defeated the frost. You shift slightly, finding a deeper hollow in the straw. The person behind you adjusts their arm, draping it over your side. It is a heavy, comforting weight, an anchor. You are secure. The wind howls outside, clawing at the turf walls, searching for a crack. Asterisk. Woo! Asterisk. But you are deep inside the layers. Turf, wood, straw, wool, fur, bodies. You are at the core of the onion. The cold cannot reach you. Let yourself sink into the sensation of the pile, the softness of the wool, the scratchiness of the linen, the smell of the lanolin, the rhythm of the breath. It is a sensory cocoon, a deprivation tank of warmth. You are no longer an individual. You are part of the sleeping bear. Drift on the wave of the collective breath. Asterisk. In, out, asterisk, asterisk, in, out, asterisk. You are warm. You are held. You are home. The sleeping arrangement is complete. The human heat engine is running at full power. Rest in the safety of the pack. You are rising now, slowly, and with a heavy, sweet reluctance, from the velvet moss of Persephone's garden. Though you leave the physical comfort of the silver tree behind, the essence of that secret garden, the red pulse of the pomegranate, the scent of the night-blooming flowers, the feeling of being hidden from the sun clings to you like a second skin. It has seeped into your pores. You are heavier now than when you entered. You carry the weight of the deep earth in your bones, a grounding, stabilizing weight that makes every movement deliberate, calm, and slow. You turn your back on the violet shadows. You face the great, dark archway that leads back into the obsidian palace. But you are not returning to the great hall with its echoes and its onyx columns. You are drawn by a subtle, magnetic pull towards a different corridor, a passage that leads inward, towards the geometric center of the mountain. It feels like walking down the throat of the world. The air here is stiller than anywhere else we have been. It is a vacuum of absolute peace. There is no dust here. There is no decay. There is only the pristine, frozen perfection of the deep underground. To be honest, there is something incredibly comforting about a place that never changes. In our lives above, everything is in constant flux. The weather, the news, our feelings. But here, the stone is exactly as it was 1,000,000 years ago, and exactly as it will be 1,000,000 years from now. That stability is a pillow for your mind. You walk down the corridor. The walls are made of unpolished basalt, rough and textured, absorbing the faint light. The floor slopes gently downward. With every step, you feel you are descending closer to the core of your own being. Asterisk. Step down. Step down. Asterisk. The rhythm is slow, a majestic procession of one. You are the guest of honor at the ceremony of sleep. Ahead of you, at the end of the long passage, stand two colossal doors. They are made of solid iron, not the rusted orange iron of the surface world that fights against the rain, but the pure, black iron of the earth's heart. They are tall, reaching up into the shadows, and they are etched with symbols that predate language lines and circles that represent the orbits of planets and the silence of dead stars. The doors stand slightly ajar, leaving a gap just wide enough for a soul to pass. A faint indigo light spills out from within, painting a strip of color across the stone floor. You approach the doors. You place your hand on the cold iron. It does not feel hard. It feels strong. It feels unbreakable. You push. The massive door swings inward on silent, perfectly balanced hinges. There is no creak. There is only the displacement of air, a soft times whoosh times of darkness. You step inside. You have entered the throne room of Hades. The room is circular, a vast rotunda carved directly into the living rock of the underworld. The ceiling is a dome, so high that it is lost in darkness, but you sense its curve, holding the weight of the world above. It feels like standing inside a geode. The walls are lined with veins of precious metals, rivers of gold, cascades of silver, spiderwebs of copper glittering faintly in the gloom. This is the source of all wealth. This is the treasury of the deep. But here, gold is not money. It is not currency. It is just metal. It is just the bones of the earth, beautiful and heavy and silent. Hades guards them not because he is greedy, but because he is the keeper of all things deep. It is a reminder that the most precious things are often hidden in the dark. In the center of the room, raised on a dais of black marble, sits a throne. It is carved from a single piece of onyx, dark and lustrous, absorbing the indigo light, and on the throne sits the king, Hades, the unseen one, Plauton, the host of many. He is not the frightening figure of nightmares. He is not a devil with horns or a tyrant with a whip. He is a figure of immense, quiet dignity. He is the personification of gravity. He sits perfectly still, his posture relaxed but upright, his hands resting gently on the arms of his throne. He wears robes of the deepest midnight blue, the color of the sky between the stars, heavy velvet that pools around his feet like dark water. On his head sits a crown, not of jagged gold, but of smooth, dark iron, set with black diamonds that do not reflect light, but absorb it. His face is pale, calm, and composed. His beard is dark and neatly trimmed, but it is his eyes that hold you. They are black, but they are not empty. They are like deep wells. They are like the surface of the Acheron River. They are filled with an infinite, patient understanding. They are eyes that have seen everything that has ever lived and everything that has ever died, and have accepted it all. There is no judgment in his gaze. There is only recognition. He sees you. He sees your tiredness. He sees the burdens you have carried to get here. He sees your need for rest. You walk towards the dais. The air gets heavier with each step. It is a pleasant heaviness. It is the feeling of sinking into a warm bath. It is the feeling of being pulled down into a deep, soft bed after a week of hard labor. The gravity of the king is reaching out to you, wrapping around your ankles, your knees, your waist. It is telling you, asterisk, you do not need to hold yourself up anymore. I have you, asterisk. You stop at the foot of the throne. You look up at the king. He does not speak with a booming voice. He speaks mind to mind, a resonance that vibrates in your chest. You have come a long way, the voice says. It sounds like the tectonic shifting of plates deep underground, low rumbling, powerful, and slow. You have walked the path of shadows. You have paid the coin. You have washed your memory. You have found the silence. He pauses. The silence in the room deepens. It becomes a physical substance, thick and rich. Now, he says, it is time to sleep. This is the law of my realm. Everything that enters here must eventually rest. The river slows. The fire cools. The heart steadies. Sleep is not a weakness. Sleep is the foundation of the universe. It is the dark soil from which the light grows. Without the dark, there is no light. Without the sleep, there is no waking. He lifts one hand. It is a slow, graceful movement. In his palm, a small sphere of shadow begins to form. It swirls and pulses like a ball of dark smoke. It is pure, distilled darkness. It is the essence of Hypnos, the god of sleep, given form. Hades releases the sphere. It floats towards you, drifting through the air like a dandelion seed made of night. It expands as it comes closer. It becomes a cloud. It becomes a blanket. It wraps around you. It covers your shoulders. It covers your chest. It covers your face. It smells of old stone, of deep roots, and of total safety. It is the scent of the finality of peace. You feel your legs giving way, not from weakness, but from a total lack of resistance. You no longer want to stand. Standing requires effort. Standing requires tension. You want to yield. You want to succumb to gravity. You sink down. The floor of the throne room is no longer hard marble. The king has transformed it for you. It is now a bed of soft, dark earth, covered in the thickest furs and the smoothest silks of the underworld. It is a nest It is a cradle built by the earth itself. You lie down. The ground rises up to meet you. It conforms to the curve of your spine. It supports the weight of your head. You curl up on your side, pulling the imaginary cloak of darkness around you. You feel safe. You feel protected by the king. He is the ultimate guardian. He will not let anything disturb you. He stands between you and the chaos. He is the wall. He is the shield. He is the anchor. Hades watches you settle. He leans back in his throne. He is the sentinel who does not need to sleep so that you can. He guards the door. Now, we begin the final shutdown. We will turn off the lights of the universe, one by one. We will perform the great release. I want you to focus on your feet. They have carried you so far. They have walked on the earth, on pavement, on floors. But now, the walking is done. Imagine a wave of heavy, warm liquid gold flowing into your toes. It fills them with weight. Your arches relax. Your heels sink into the bed. Your ankles unlock. The bones of your feet turn to stone, heavy, resting stone. They are asleep. Focus on your legs, the calves, the shins, the knees, the thighs. These are the pillars that hold you up all day. They are the engines of movement. But now, the engine is cut. The tension drains out of the muscles like water flowing downhill. The knots untie. The fibers lengthen. Your legs feel like heavy logs of wood sinking into the soft earth. They are rooted. They are asleep. Focus on your hips and your stomach. This is the center of your body, where we often hold our fear, our gut feelings. Imagine the knot of anxiety that lives there is dissolving. It is melting like ice in the sun. It is replaced by a warm, heavy stone of peace. Your breathing shifts. It moves from your chest down to your belly. Rise and fall. Rise and fall. Your internal organs slow down. Your digestion sleeps. Your hunger sleeps. Your body enters a state of perfect stasis. You are a dormant volcano, cool and quiet. Focus on your hands and arms. Your fingers uncurl. They lie limp on the bed, open and empty. They are not holding on to anything anymore. They are not typing, not gripping, not carrying. The tools are laid down. The phone is put away. The work is finished. The sensation of touch fades. Your wrists, your forearms, your elbows, your shoulders. The invisible yoke you wear, the responsibilities, the expectations is lifted off by the king. He takes it from you. Your shoulders drop back. They melt into the ground. Your arms are heavy ropes of relaxation. They are asleep. Focus on your neck and your throat. The passage of your voice relaxes. You do not need to speak. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to defend yourself. The words are gone. Your vocal cords relax. Your neck muscles soften, allowing your head to be fully supported by the earth. Focus on your face. This is where we wear our masks. The mask of competence, the mask of happiness, the mask of attention. Let the mask fall away. Your jaw unhinges slightly, relaxing. Your tongue rests on the floor of your mouth, thick and soft. Your cheeks soften. Your forehead smooths out, like a sheet of paper being ironed flat. The tiny muscles around your eyes let go. The squinting stops. Your eyes, they are closed. But now you turn off the vision behind them. You turn off the screen of your mind. There are no more images. There are no more movies playing. There is just velvet blackness. Hades raises his hand again. He makes a gesture of extinguishing. Around the room, the blue flames in the braziers begin to die. The brazier to your left flickers. Asterisk FFT. Asterisk. The blue light pulses once, twice, and vanishes. A section of the room disappears into shadow. The darkness moves closer. The brazier to your right dims. The sapphire glow fades to a dull indigo, and then to black. Another section of the room is gone. The light is retreating towards the center, towards the throne. and then towards you. Now, let us expand our vision. Let us turn off the lights of the entire journey we have taken tonight. We are going to shut down the underworld. Far away, in the garden, Persephone stops twirling the flower. She places it on the bench. She stands up and smooths her dress. The red glow of the pomegranate tree dims. The rubies fade to garnet, then to coal, then to darkness. The trees stop breathing. The moss stops growing. The garden sleeps. Further out, in the Elysian fields, the violet light of the sky fades. The sun that never sets. The west wind stops blowing. The leaves of the white poplar trees stop shimmering. They hang motionless, silver coins in the dark. The crystal stream slows its bubbling until it is silent. The heroes lie down in the grass. The poets put down their lyres. The light turns from violet to gray, then to black. Elysium sleeps. At the tribunal, the judges Minos, Rhadamanthus, Aeacus lower their heads. They close their eyes. They become stone statues in the dark. The judgment is over. The court is closed. There are no more decisions to be made. The gavel has fallen. Beside them, Cerberus, the great hound, lets out one final long sigh. Asterisk. Asterisk. His three heads sink deeper into his paws. His tail stops twitching. His breathing becomes the slow, deep rhythm of the earth itself. The guardian sleeps. On the river, the mist thickens. The white water of the Lethe stops swirling. It becomes a sheet of still milk, then fades into the dark. The black water of the Acheron becomes indistinguishable from the shore. Charon sits in his boat. He pulls his hood down over his eyes. He leans on his pole. The ferryman sleeps. The boat stops drifting. Up near the surface, the cave mouth seals itself. The connection to the upper world is broken. The noise of the living, the sun, the wind, the traffic, the demands, it is all gone. It is 1 billion miles away. The entire kingdom of Hades is now dark. It is a vast, silent, underground cathedral of rest. There is only one light left, a faint, dim glow radiating from the king on his throne. He looks at you one last time. He sees that you are safe. He sees that you are heavy. He sees that you are ready. Rest now, he whispers. His voice is a vibration in the floor. You are mine until the morning, and in my care, nothing can harm you. The gates are locked. The walls are thick. The silence is perfect. He closes his eyes. The last light goes out. Absolute darkness. But it is not a scary darkness. It is a warm, living, velvety darkness. It is the darkness of the womb. It is the darkness of the seed in the soil. It is the darkness of potential. It is the darkness that heals. You are floating in the void. There is no up or down. There is no left or right. There is no time. There is only the sensation of being held. You are a stone sinking through an endless ocean of oil. Slow, smooth, heavy. Your heart beats. Asterisk. Thump. Thump. Asterisk. The space between the beats gets longer. The silence gets louder. You are dissolving. You are merging with the obsidian palace. You are the rock. You are the shadow. You are the quiet. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere left to go. You have arrived at the destination. The journey is complete. The story is told. The book is closed. The silence wraps you up. It fills your ears. It fills your mind. Deep, dark, quiet. Still, you are safe in the eternal keep of Hades. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Good night.